Welcome back to Teach Me How to Clean. Today I'm going to be showing you how I clean my pack and play. We pretty much only use our pack and play when we are camping, we're out in the woods. It gets used and abused, as the saying goes here. And this particular pack and play has also been through 3 children. So I'm going to show you how I go ahead and clean this and kind of do some sort of a laundry strip situation without the borax. So starting off, I filled my tub with the hottest water I possibly could, and I'm going to dump in just a little bit of liquid laundry detergent, and I'm also going to be throwing in a little bit of this OxiClean. I use this stuff so much in my everyday life, not just for laundry, but things like this. I just love this stuff. So I'm going to take a scoop of this OxiClean. I really like this odor blast one because kids. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some of this in as well. Now I'm going to finish filling up my tub just so it completely covers my pack and play. I just wanted to put in my soap and the OxiClean in first, and then when I turn the water back on, it'll kind of bubble and kind of do what it would in the wash. I just have the pack and play frame in here. I do not have the mat. Do not put the mat in your bathtub. Your mat is made out of particle board. If you put it in here, one of 2 things is going to happen. It's either going to completely disintegrate and fall apart, or if you're lucky, it won't fall apart, but what's going to happen is that particle board is going to literally mold from the inside out. Terrible. So do not put your mat in here. I'll show you how we're going to clean our mat off in a second. You can go ahead and let this sit for as long as you want. I'm hoping to use this tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going to let this soak probably for 3 or 4 hours, pull it out, and I'm going to set it up outside on my back porch to let it dry, air out, and mostly depending on how humid it is outside is going to depend how long it's going to take to completely dry. It is super humid where I live right now, so I might actually just set this up some towels or something to let it dry. I don't know, but I really need to use this tomorrow, so I'm doing this a little last minute, but that's just life. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this soak, and I'll show you how we're gonna do the board. So here's my mat. Somehow while we were camping, the baby who was inside the pack and play got a hold of a soda and dumped it all over themselves inside of it. So that's what is going on here. And we just didn't wash it. So you are going to need some elbow grease for this. Not a lot of people like to hear that, but you're gonna have to scrub. I'm gonna take a little bit of this OxiClean here. If you didn't have OxiClean, baking soda would work just as well. And you really don't need a lot. What I have here is just an old ice cream bucket filled with just plain hot water, and I have this little scrub brush here. I love this thing. Walmart. I think it's like $2. It's wonderful, but I'm just going to dip this in water. You really don't need a lot. And I'm just gonna start scrubbing. This really doesn't take that much elbow grease, just a little bit of time maybe. Obviously just depending on how bad your mat is, but already you can see the difference. Obviously it's wet, but not a lot of water needs to go on this either, just enough to kind of activate the OxiClean or your baking soda, depending on what you're using. Now that I have scrubbed the whole thing, I've got the stains out. I'm pretty happy with it. It took me about probably 5 minutes to do the whole thing. I have just a wet towel here. I'm gonna wipe off the residual OxiClean. I'm sure even if you use baking soda, you're gonna have the same thing, all these little granules. So I'm just gonna take this and wipe those off. Now that I've got it all wiped off, I wiped off most of my OxiClean, I'm gonna leave it just like this, propped up on my deck. And this will dry just within a couple minutes because it's not really that wet. So your mat is done. All we're waiting for is the frame, which is soaking, and it'll take a couple hours. This is after about 4 hours. I can already see that this is way whiter than it used to be. I'm gonna let the tub out and see what all came off of this. For drying, normally I would put this outside, but it's actually raining right now, so a little counterproductive. I just laid down a couple towels and set it up to dry. And this is what the bottom of my tub looks like from everything that came off of it, which is super gross.